explain that Pablo Benito, whether anybody realizes it or not, is really important because it in my presentations that we done, we mentioned that it's for a 180-year cycle for a solar storm that occurs. But one of its real main reasons it was created for, it's actually a monument dedicated to the last major solar storm to occur in this cycle, which will end the current world that we're sitting in right now, which will be in 2039. So in reality, Pablo Benito is really a monument dedicated to that event that was going to happen in the future in the ancient past. So it's a monument dedicated to 2039 when that final solar storm hits. That'll end this current world that we're in, or the fifth world that we're sitting in right now. And then a lot of the people down in Teotihuacan are freaked out because Teotihuacan isn't set up to the solstices and to the equinoxes because it's set off kilter. They don't understand that it's off kilter for two reasons. One of the reasons why it's off kilter is set for August 13th. Why August 13th? August 13th, 3213 BC, the beginning of this current cycle that we're sitting in right now. That's why it's off kilter a little bit, because it's to that particular date of August 13th. What is the other date that is off kilter to? August 29th. And what's up with August 29th? Well, you gotta have an alpha and an omega. August 13th is the alpha, the beginning of the solar storm cycles that are going to occur. So that's why August 13th was important for the beginning of this current cycle that we're in now. April 29th is important because that's the omega. That's going to be the date for when the last solar storm cycle is going to occur, which takes this entire world out. And that's why Teotihuacan isn't aligned to the solstices and the equinoxes. It's set up for the starting date of the cycle that we're in, and it's also set up for the ending date of the cycle that we're sitting in, or the end of this current world that we're in right now, and then the beginning of the next one that comes up. Because it's never really the end of the world, Everybody, the Big Bang Theory, everybody thinks it began with that, but where did the Big Bang come from? It came from the destruction of that cycle. And what happens after the cycle's over with, and the destruction? A new cycle begins. And then a whole nother world comes out of that. A whole nother reality. A whole nother chapter. That's a whole lot different than the chapter we're in right now. But for that chapter to begin, we have to end this chapter we're in right now. And that's August 13th. The beginning, April 29th, the end. And that's why Teotihuacan is off kilter with its alignment. That's why it's not set to solstices and equinoxes. It's set up for the end and the start and the ending date of our cycle. But anyway, I hope somebody takes it serious because I forgot. Oh. Colleen, I need to read something real quick, real quick here. And this is important. Pueblo leaders, New Mexico delegation rally to protect Chaco Canyon. Leaders convene in Washington to oppose a proposal that would strip protections from the surrounding land. New Mexico's congressional delegation joined leaders of the All Pueblo Council of Governors in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday to advocate for protections around the Chaco Cultural National Historical Park. Leaders stood in front of the Capitol as they all echoed the same sentiment. Chaco Canyon is not for sale. Chaco is not a museum. It's an isolated archaeological park, said Council Chairman Joey Sanchez, former governor of the Pueblo of Santa Ana. We pray for its guidance, and with a stroke of a pen, it could be gone. That's not fair. The move comes after a recent Bureau of Land Management proposal that would revoke a 2023 order that protected the 60,040 acres of federal land within a 10-mile buffer from mineral oil and gas extraction. The proposal drew immediate criticism from state officials and environmental groups. New Mexico has an important role to play for producing energy for the nation, said Senator Martin Heinrich. We produce far more electrons than we consume, and we have never had to sacrifice our most sacred places to do that. And we should not do that going forward. U.S. Representatives Melanie Stansbury, Gabe Vasquez, and Teresa Leger Fernandez, all Democrats, also stood behind tribal leaders as they spoke of Chaco Canyon's cultural significance and urged the community to submit comments opposing the proposal. There is no molecule of gas on Earth that is worth destroying this cultural landscape that is known as Chaco Canyon. Leger Fernandez said, "It's not over, and we will not stand by and let those bulldozers take over this landscape." Though many local leaders oppose revocation of the order, Navajo Nation President Boo Nygren, or whoever it is, in a June newsletter reaffirmed the Navajo Nation does not support the buffer zone, though he said any decision must include consultations with people who live there. The Navajo people have protected Chaco for generations, he wrote. My position is clear. Leave it alone. Zero buffer zone is my stance. The order was signed in 2023 by former Interior Secretary Deb Haaland, who is now a New Mexico Democratic nominee for governor and has been slated to remain in place until 2043. In a public comment cemented online, Haaland said the potential revocation was an attempt to profit off Chaco Canyon without respecting the historical meaning behind the sacred lands. Communities from across the globe and right here in New Mexico have worked for decades to protect this precious landscape and structures that date back thousands of years, Haaland wrote. Congressional leaders criticized President Donald Trump's administration for what they said was an expedited public comment and review period. The Bureau of Land Management opened public comments for 2 weeks, running through July 29th. That's not very far away. President Trump and his cronies tried to find a way to expedite public comment, said Ben Ray Luan. Do not let this clock that the president set, which is one of the shortest I've ever seen, go without any of us noticing. In a social media post, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham said her administration had attempted to push back on the proposals for months and similarly expressed her frustration with the shortened public comment period. New Mexico is already number 2 oil producer in the country, so don't be fooled into thinking this is a debate about energy independence, she wrote. This is about whether we protect what we can't be replaced. On Wednesday afternoon, the delegation sent a letter to Interior Secretary Doug Burgum to request that the Bureau of Land Management extend the public comment period to 90 days. During the May news conference where it was announced that Chaco Canyon had been included on the list of America's 11 most endangered historic places, tribal leaders said the administration failed to recognize Pueblo sovereignty, adding that leaders have been left out of any conversations. The All Pueblo Council of Governors had requested numerous times for Burgum to meet with them in New Mexico to experience Chaco Canyon before coming to a decision. Though Burgum said he would visit, he has yet to come, they said. Acoma Pueblo Governor Charles Riley said tribal leaders tried yet again to speak to Burgum in Washington, D.C., though he declined to meet with them at any point during the week. We have offered to take him to Chaco as his predecessors went so he could stand in that place before deciding its future, Riley said. The decision makers in this matter has not yet looked at the Pueblos in the eye, and he has not yet stood on the ground he proposes to open. Chaco Canyon is under attack, and the last day for any help in keeping it from going under is July 29th. What is today?
I don't know, the 26th?
Ooh. Okay, everybody that's going to watch us online, share this video, distribute it, and get a hold of your local representative and show your concern about protecting Chaco Canyon to override this. There's only one way we can do this in 3 days, is to get some kind of public support. And if you copy, share this, get it to your friends, get it out there, get your officials notified, get all 50 states to say no. Oh, there we go. Thank you.